Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security, and Rural Development. Uh, to the head of the table is our host, Minister Lennox Andrews. He is the Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Cooperatives, Agriculture and Lands, Forestry, Blue Economy, and Marine Affairs. Other ministers in the room include Minister the Honorable Von Miller, Ministry of the Environment and Natural Resources, Bahamas, the Honorable Minister Adrian Ford, Minister of Environment and National Beautification, Barbados, Parliamentary Secretary, Honorable Miss Lakia Joseph, Minister in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy, Dominica. Representing the Minister for St. Kitts and Nevis is the Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Shalatea Dor Tyson. Representing the Minister responsible for the UNC City in Belize is Miss Michelle Alvarez, UNC City Focal Point. Representing the Minister from the Cooperative Republic of Guyana is Mr. Enrique Muniz, UNC City Focal Point for Guyana. Other permanent secretaries, other focal points, representative from FAO, the Global Water Partnership. Online, we have representatives from AICA, UE, Haiti, and other colleagues. Welcome and good morning. The fourth session of the PISLM, Ministerial Council serves as a turning point for the organization. We will be installing the second chair, who will then take us through the first session of the second PISLM Ministerial Council. The Honorable Alfred Prosper will be standing down as the first chair of the first Ministerial Council. He will be giving his remarks after me. And today we will also be, the Ministerial Council will also be appointing or electing its new executive director. So we have, today is a formidable day. Today is a day of change. I want to, on behalf of the Secretariat, thank the government and people of Grenada for hosting this important meeting, and more importantly, for agreeing to house and to host the Secretariat in Grenada. Grenada is becoming and competing in the region to be a hub for these MEAs. Barbados has the UN, Belize has the 5 Cs, now Grenada has PISLM and GWP. So we want to really thank you for honoring us in this way. I will not detain you much longer. Online, we have the chairman of the Ministerial Council, the Honorable Alfred Prosper. I give the floor to the minister to bring his address. Minister, the floor is yours.
Good morning. Good morning. Are you hearing me?
Loud and clear.
Yes. Let me say a pleasant good morning to everyone. It's unfortunate that I could not make it to this meeting today. This is actually the first meeting of the PISLM since I became part of this organization that I'm actually missing. Let me recognize the presence of Honorable Minister Lennox Andrews from Grenada, Minister Von Miller from the Bahamas. I'm very happy to know that he's at this meeting. Minister Andrew Ford from Barbados, Permanent Secretary Roxy Hutchman from Grenada, Permanent Secretary Mistress Shurlita Dor Tyson, I hope I have it right, from St. Kitts, Permanent Secretary Lakia Joseph from Dominica, Steve Devonish, Soil Care Focal Point from Barbados, Michel Alvarez, UNCCD Focal Point from Belize, Deborah Daniel Louis, Agricultural Planning Officer from Grenada, and Unique Moise, UNCCD Focal Point from the Guyana Lands and Survey Department. Other esteemed colleagues, UNCCD Focal Points, I know my focal point from St. Lucia is there, Alwyn Donnelly. Other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to address you today at this fourth session of the fourth PISLM Ministerial Council meeting, a gathering of significant historical importance. This session marks a pivotal moment, much like the inaugural session of the PISLM Ministerial Council held approximately 1 year ago in Grenada, where the transformation of PISLM into an intergovernmental organization was celebrated. As the inaugural chairman of the Ministerial Council, it is a privilege to reflect on this progress. This meeting represents a critical juncture for the Caribbean Small Island Developing States, building upon the establishment of the PISLM as an intergovernmental organization in the Caribbean region just over a year ago. This gathering underscores our collective dedication to advancing sustainable land management and soil health initiatives within the sub-region. The primary objective of the PISLM initiative is to facilitate the harmonization of policies, deliver innovative solutions, and strengthen capabilities within Caribbean Small Island Developing States to effectively fulfill the commitments under the United Nations Convention to combat desertification, concerning desertification, land degradation, and drought. PISLM's collaborative efforts are grounded in the understanding that sustainable land management is not only an environmental necessity, but also a crucial adaptation strategy requiring the implementation of actions designed to mitigate adverse impacts on land resources. Recognizing the escalating challenges posed by climate change, including deforestation, land degradation, and drought, and the effects of extreme weather events, the collective action of our countries, facilitated by PISLM, is of paramount importance. During the Ministerial Council, we must reaffirm our dedication to the successful implementation of initiatives such as soil care. Prioritizing soil management and soil health remains paramount to fulfilling our commitments as seeds under the United Nations Convention to combat desertification. This includes scaling up and strengthening land degradation neutrality actions to promote climate-smart sustainable land management, enhance climate resilience, and ensure food security, thereby mitigating our vulnerability to the adverse effects of climate change. One of the high-level segments of COP16 was dedicated to the issue of drought. Concurrently, I also served on the Intergovernmental Working Group on Drought over the past 2 years. At the first PISLM Ministerial Council, ministers commissioned FAO to write a paper on the impact of drought in the Caribbean region. Consequently, the PISLM Secretariat will provide an assessment of recommendations for drought adaptation and mitigation as mandated by the Ministerial Council. We also need to agree on a Caribbean position on this matter to guide our future actions. Similarly, the issue of sand and dust storms would have been a significant topic of discussion at COP16. It was further noted at the first PISLM Ministerial Council that Sahara dust outbreaks in the Caribbean has increased by 10% since 1981, with thus contributing to drought conditions in the Caribbean. We would also need to agree on a common position on this issue moving forward. Esteemed colleagues, the primary objective of our deliberations is to identify and implement actionable strategies to enhance land management systems within our respective member states. This encompasses the dissemination of exemplary practices, the acquisition of necessary resources, and the cultivation of collaborative partnerships to safeguard the enduring health and productivity of our land resources. The UNCCD serves as the foundational framework for our operational activities. We are committed to ensuring that our national strategies are fully aligned with the UNCCD strategic objectives, and that we actively contribute to international initiatives aimed at mitigating desertification, land degradation, and drought. I encourage your active engagement in these discussions, and I welcome your valuable contributions and insights as we collaboratively take comprehensive and actionable steps. Our collective efforts are essential to ensuring that PISLM successfully achieves its mandate and the achievement of our shared objectives for sustainable land management within the Caribbean Seas. I am very optimistic that this meeting will be a resounding success. I look forward to a productive and collaborative dialogue and to the positive outcomes that will emerge from our collective efforts. I am very comfortable, I'm very happy that the meeting will still continue, even if I'm not present physically, but I do know we are committed to the cause of advancing the priorities of making sure that we take measures to address the issues that confront small island states like St. Lucia and the other countries represented at this meeting today. We have to continue to work together under one umbrella because this is the only way that we are going to achieve what our set targets and goals are. I wish you all the best, and I look forward to participating in the rest of this meeting. I thank you. I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chairman, for those words. I think they have set the tone for today's meeting. Since 2024, the government and people of Grenada, Carriacou, and Petit Martinique have been working together with the PISLM, the Secretariat in particular, to bring last night's inaugural event to pass. We signed a headquarters agreement, and now we are housed in Grenada. And so it is with immense gratitude that I now give the floor to the Honorable Lennox Andrews, Minister of Economic Development, Planning, Agriculture and Lands, Forestry, Marine Resources, and Cooperatives to bring the feature address. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much indeed, and a very pleasant good morning to all of you. I begin by expressing my apology for my lateness. As you can imagine, ministers have plenty of things to do very early in the morning, and on my way down, the traffic was also very heavy. So sorry for my lateness. I want to recognize all of our ministers here, in particular, Minister Vaughan Miller, the Ministry of Environment and Natural Resources of the Bahamas, Minister Adrian Ford, whom I met last night for the first time, the Ministry of the Environment and National Beautification of Barbados, our Permanent Secretary, Roxy Hutchinson, Ministry for Economic Development, Planning and Cooperatives, Agriculture and Lands, Forestry, the Blue Economy, and Marine Affairs, Permanent Secretary, Mrs. Shelita Dore Tyson, Ministry of Sustainable Development, Environment and Climate Action, and Constituency Empowerment. St. Kitts and Nevis. And I lived in St. Kitts for a little while. Permanent Secretary, Ms. Lakia Joseph of Dominica, Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Blue and Green Economy. Steve Devonish, Soil Care, Focal Point Technical Officer, Ministry of the Environment and National Beautification of Barbados. Michelle Alvarez, UNCCD Focal Point, Ministry of Natural Resources, Belmopan Office, HM Queen Elizabeth II Boulevard, City of Belmopan, Cayo District, Belize. Deborah Daniel Williams, Agricultural Planning Officer, Ministry of Agriculture, Rural Transformation, Forestry and Fisheries, and Western Grenadines. Who is Deborah? Oh, right. Give Sabuto my regards, please. Yes. Enrique Monse, UNCCD Focal Point, Guyana Heads and Survey of Guyana, and all of our PISLM staff, our Executive Director, Calvin James, and the non-state actors, FAO, ICA, GWPC, and the University of the West Indies. So friends, it is my pleasure to welcome you to this first session of the second Ministerial Council of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management. I am personally happy to be part of this fourth council meeting. As ministers, we are called upon to make policy decisions relative to moving our PISLM forward. Today, we gather to address the complex and interrelated challenges confronting our Seeds Caribbean and to define a clear and coordinated path forward in advancing sustainable land and soil management across our region. Undoubtedly, our efforts today as ministers would have largely contributed to our present achievements, and our presence here signifies our commitment to embrace this project as we give support to our technical staff in advancing this very important project for our small islands developing state. In this regard, I join other ministers and institutions in recognizing the brilliant work undertaken by the PISLM Secretariat, guided by its leader, Mr. Calvin James, and who will be referenced from now onwards as we chart the course forward for our region. Mr. James' commitment to the region, as reflected in his work in PISLM, tells us that the Caribbean can produce the academics that are capable of guiding our region's development, and that it is up to us as policymakers to believe in their intelligence and give them the support that they need as they turn ideas into tangible projects that are geared towards our region's transformation. Therefore, ministers, at this fourth session of the first Ministerial Council of PISLM, we must demonstrate our support to the Secretariat, as in so doing, we express our belief in them and we give them the intellectual freedom to design and implement projects that can protect our individual islands from the vagaries of the changing weather. As was indicated last night, We have an important agenda before us that must be completed before the end of the workday. The agenda tells us that we have some important decisions to make: the selection and inauguration of our new executive director, the introduction of our new chairman, and we are to receive status report on 4 main projects, namely the CSIDS Soil Care Phase 2 project, the Caribbean LDN project, the Caribbean Drought Initiative, and finally, the Caribbean Sand and Dust Storm Initiative. I consider these projects as extremely important in our efforts to fight against climate change and to ensure sustainable soil management in our region. As such, as ministers, we must express our support to these projects and see them through. In closing, I share the view that there is no greater merit that one can achieve than to be at the service of his country and people. As ministers, we have been elected by our people to serve them and our region so as to improve their lives and to make our individual countries and the region a better place to live. We cannot let down our people. We must take the examples of the leaders who came before us, those with their bravery and supported by brilliant academic minds, fought against the colonial masters for the independence of our region, and gave us CARIFTA and then CARICOM as the administrative arm of our region. They gave us the University of the West Indies to produce the academics like Calvin James to implement our development policies and agenda. They gave us the Caribbean Development Bank to provide concessionary financing for our region's economic development. And of course, they gave us the West Indies cricket team as a demonstration of our collective talents, efforts, and unity. Today, it is our turn to give to those who come after us the PISLM Secretariat to ensure the continued existence of our region as small island development states and the sustainable use and conservation of our soil. In so doing, we will be achieving the greatest merit for having served our country and our people and our region. Therefore, let us work towards a successful meeting with meaningful decisions taken for our secretariat to work with, and for the signing of a communique which will be the results of our joint efforts. Thank you all very much indeed.
Thank you very much, Minister, for those words. And this, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the end of our opening ceremony. We want to quickly and seamlessly move into the work program. As Minister Andrews pointed out, it's a very ambitious work program today, and it is our intention to complete all of it successfully. I now yield the floor to the chair of today's proceedings, the Honorable Alfred Prosper, who will guide us through the first part of our organization of work. In item number 3, there will be a changing of the guards, and the new incoming chairman of the Ministerial Council will assume chairmanship of the remainder of the organization of work. There will be a break, and then we go into the closed session, which will take us up to lunchtime. So with that, Minister, the floor is yours. Mr. Alfred Prosper, floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Calvin. I have been battling with the little technology, so it's taking a little time, so bear with me. So we now move into the agenda, which is the adoption of the agenda. Let me grab my Calvin, would that be agenda item 1?
That's, yes, adoption of the agenda.
Yes. So, Excellencies, in accordance with Article 22 of the Rules of Procedure, Conference Regulations, and other relevant decisions, the agenda for the 4th session of the PISLM Ministerial Council is now presented for your consideration. Due to the extenuating circumstances, the provisional agenda has been amended. As such, I now table PMC 4/002 for adoption. Is there a mover for the motion that we adopt PMC 4/002, the provisional agenda of this meeting with amendments?
I so move.
Grenada moves.
Thank you, Grenada. Can I have someone second this motion?
Bahamas seconds.
Thank you very much, Bahamas. This motion is now placed to the floor for adoption. Are there any members who wish to oppose the motion? There being none, this motion is now adopted by unanimous consent. I have to hit my, I hope you can hear it. Excellencies, document PMC 4/001 is adopted. Agenda item number 2,
Yes.
round of introduction. Excellence, we now move to the second order of business under the organization of work, round of introductions. In accordance with Article 34C of the Rules of Procedure, I ask that we hold a roll count in order of privilege. To facilitate this process, I yield the floor to the Executive Director. Executive Director, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, Chair. And we would simply indicate the name of the excellencies and or representative for an official roll count. In order of privilege, we go with country parties first and agencies next. Bahamas, just state your name.
My name is Vaughn Miller, Minister of the Environment and Natural Resources. Honored to be at this historic session. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency. Barbados.
Adrian Ford, Minister of the Environment, Green and Blue Economy. It's a privilege.
Thank you, Excellency. Belize.
Good morning, Michelle Alvarez, UNCCD Focal Point, Ministry of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining, Belize.
Thank you, Michelle. Dominica.
Good morning, Lakia Joseph, Parliamentary Secretary in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and the Blue Economy with special responsibility for the development of community agro-enterprises and agro-processing.
Thank you very much, Parliamentary Secretary. Grenada.
Lennox Andrews, Minister for Economic Development, Planning and Cooperatives, Agriculture and Lands, Forestry, Blue Economy, and Marine Affairs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Excellency. Guyana.
Good morning, Enrique Moniz, Commissioner and CEO of the Guyana Land Service Commission, National Focal Point of Guyana, operating under the Office of the President of Guyana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Guyana. Next, we have St. Kitts and Nevis.
Greetings all. Cheryl Shesdo Tyson, Permanent Secretary, St. Kitts Nevis, representing the Ministries of Sustainable Development, Climate Action, Environment, and constituency empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Good morning, Deborah Daniel, Agriculture Planner, representing the Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour, the Honourable Sabutu Caesar.
Thank you very much. Next, we go with the UNCCD focal points. St. Lucia.
Good morning, Alwyn Donnelly, UNCCD focal point for St. Lucia, also the Chief Forestry Officer in the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development, and also the current Chairman of the Executive Committee of PISLM. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Online, we have Haiti.
Good morning, everyone. Ede Udat, Director of Forest for the Ministry of Environment of Haiti, and the National Focal Point for UNCCD. I'm happy to be with you.
Okay, are there any other focal points online? Okay. Intergovernmental agencies, we have FAO.
Good morning, Cruz Ferro, from soil expert from the Subregional Office for the Caribbean and Global Soil Partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. The Global Water Partnership, Caribbean.
Good morning, Roxanne Graham, the Regional Coordinator for the Global Water Partnership, Caribbean leg.
Good morning, Aika.
Good morning, Charlie St. Martin, Aika, International Specialist in Water and Soil Management and Team Leader of ICA's Climate Change Program. Over.
Okay, thank you very much. All other invited guests supporting casts for the ministerial delegations, welcome. Chairman, we are all accounted for according to Article 34 of the Rules of Procedures. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Executive Director, and let me welcome Excellencies, friends, stakeholders, and all other participants. Now, with these protocols out of the way, we now prepare for the work at hand. Agenda item 3, convening of the fourth session of the first PISLM Ministerial Council plenary session. Excellencies, in pursuance to this agenda item, I now present to you my final report as chair of the first Ministerial Council. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, yes, it is my honor to welcome you to the fourth session of the PISLM Ministerial Council meeting, now being held at the Royalton Hotel on this 18th day of June 2025. On behalf of this council, I wish to thank the government of Grenada, Petit Martinique, and Carriacou for hosting this pivotal meeting, and to thank the Right Honorable Lennox J. Andrews, Minister for Economic Development, Planning, Agriculture, Lands, Forestry, Marine Resources, and Cooperatives for being such a gracious host. I also want to thank the government for accepting responsibility for providing an appropriate home for the PISLM Secretariat here on Spice Island. Let's put our hands together for this gesture. Excellencies, I would like to thank all of you for availing yourself of being associated with this pivotal meeting. I also wish to acknowledge the various regional intergovernmental organizations and civil society stakeholders participating in this Ministerial Council meeting. Excellencies, as you know, PISLM is the only intergovernmental organization for Caribbean small island developing states established with a mandate to work with country parties towards achieving our obligations under the United Nations Convention to combat desertification and the land and soil aspects of the Barbados Program of Action. The PISLM Ministerial Council is the principal policy-making organ of the PISLM. The responsibilities of the Ministerial Council, as stated in Article 9 of the Constitution of the PISLM Establishment Agreement, are inter alia: 1. To consider and adopt measures to establish, review, and update policies of PISLM, the policies of PISLM, sorry. 2. To approve the work program of the PISLM. 3. To provide guidance to the work of PISLM in achieving the region's UNCCD obligations. And 4. Amongst other things, perform other such functions as necessary to achieve the objectives of PISLM. As such, the 4th session of the PISLM Ministerial Council will continue in this long-standing tradition of crafting the appropriate policy prescriptions to guide the work of the PISLM in managing the sustainable land and soil management of the Caribbean. I want to thank everyone, ministers, focal points, other participants, for their support during my tenure as chairman of the Ministerial Council, PISLM Ministerial Council. I do believe that the new chair will continue to work together with everyone towards achieving our targets and working together to help address our land desertification or land degradation issues in the region. We've been doing well. There were a few more or new ministers attending COP, UNCCD COP last year, and I do hope that we will continue to participate in those very important meetings as a means for us to work together to help deal with our environmental issues in the region. I wish the new chair all the best, and I look forward to working with him throughout his tenure over the next year. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. Item 4. Okay, so, Chairman, are you online? May be having some issues. Item 4 is the installation of the incoming chairman of the Ministerial Council. Article 9 of the Constitution of the Establishment Agreement, paragraph 3, outlines the tenure of the chair of the Ministerial Council and outlines further the procedures for the election of a new chair. We begin this second session, the second PISLM session with Barbados, and it will then proceed according to the rules and procedure alphabetically from henceforth. A chair will serve for 2 years, so the incoming chair will serve for 2 years, followed according to the rules by the next country in line alphabetically. Is the chairman back on, or I guess I'll just proceed? All right, so with those few words, I want us to congratulate Barbados for agreeing to take over from the Honorable Alfred Prosper, who over the year that he served really ensured that we met the objectives, which were, and he pointed out a few of them, ensuring that there was maximum ministerial participation at the CUPs. And I think we should give him a round of applause for that. It was the first CUP where we had more than 7 ministers. So, Minister Ford, you have a task in your hand. We have to get the other 7 to attend. Minister Alfred Prosper also led several policy initiatives, which we will be discussing today. And so he leaves a large footprint for us to follow. So with those few words, we invite now Minister Ford to assume the chairmanship of the second PISLM Forum. So you will sit. Let's welcome Minister Ford.
Good morning, all. It is indeed a pleasure for me to be here in the Spice Isle of Grenada, and I hope that we have a very spicy session today with all the active ingredients to make this event one that is successful. Let me thank all my colleagues, my colleague ministers. There's so much to mention individually now, but I know that the protocol has been long established since last night. So I want to go first into the first sitting of the second PISLM Ministerial Council and to declare that it is now in session. Excellencies all, if there was any notion or in our minds that there was an unequivocal separation between development and sustainability, I want to let us now declare openly that over the 20 years that PISLM has been in existence, this notion has been realistically denied. PISLM has showed us that the opposite is quite possible. And the opposite is that sustainability and development can have an equal gamos. And that is why the term sustainable development has been used so frequently across the land, especially as we associate it with PISLM and PISLM's work. But the only way we can have an equal trust with both is if there is the science-based initiatives, unless there is the passion and policy, which must collide in a special way. We can only have sustainable development if we incorporate those in the twilight of their years, our elderly and our young people, those in the dawn, and of course, our indigenous people. We must have the sustainability of livelihoods if we are going to talk about sustainable development. PISLM has given us the opportunity as a region, using a focus on land and land sustainability, to recognize that if we put our collective sinew to work as a region. Cricket showed us that. But if we put our collective sinew as a region, that we can have, as one voice, the realization of a project that can very much tailor itself to the needs of us in the small island developing state, to tailor to our needs as a region. And that is what PISLM has done. And I want to personally thank my colleague, the person who I have definitely took the baton from this morning, and a very inspired colleague as well, because his work must not go unnoticed. When a person can come up with a doctor's approach to agriculture in his hometown, where the idea of proper diagnosis of soil becomes part of the conversation in St. Lucia, and then juxtapose it on the international scene with his work at the level of Saudi Arabia, where we had our last COP16 UNCCD, where he, of course, called for the same technical and scientific support for our region. And of course, Calvin, who has been steadfast, a bedrock of sorts in the region, a household name for many of us, only separated by sea, but the name Calvin sail across all our region. And I want to personally thank him for lending support. I know I would not have him here by my side physically, but he's just a phone call away. He assured me that. And I know, although he whispered to me that there's a consecrated calling for him in his future endeavors, I want to say to him, and the book of Genesis would indicate to us that God asks all of us to be responsible and stewards of the earth. And he asks us to care for the earth and the land and our soil in a special way. So you would have been doing your consecrated work long before you whispered that to me, Calvin. I want you to continue it because it is an important work. And it's an important work for us in the Caribbean to be able to say to the rest of the world in one voice that we have the vision, the passion, and the policy to be able to speak to the needs of our people. And so because I won't be having a long speech this morning, but as I take on the baton, I want to equally assure you all that along with having, because we're speaking about the Caribbean now, along with having that Usain Bolt moment where I will run fast, I equally, with all respects to Grenada, will be having the Karani James long distance moment as well. So let me speaking about sustainability. We can have sustainability and we can have sustainable development in an equal way, in a dynamic way. But I want to say that I will call on each and every one of you to give me the sustenance as well, because the metaphorical sustenance from each one of you all will be the only way that I can achieve, and PISLM can achieve, the sustainable development of our land and of our people as we know it. So, Calvin, I don't have to sit down here and elucidate on your work in terms of the response effort for Hurricane Beryl and Karakou, and how you were able to ensure that they got the financing and redirect funds to support that effort. Your work is well documented. Alfred's work is long documented. But it's not a single effort that will take us above the philosophical line in the sand. This is collective work. So the only way that I know, and I know that we will have a successful tenure, But the only way that that is possible is if I'm able to draw on each one of you all to provide me with that connective energy, that connective focus, the zeal, the zest that is needed at this point in time. Because we must no longer be seen as second in the line. Both showed us that. Karani showed us that. Our cricket team, maybe not of the near the near past, but the distant past, showed us that collectively as a region what we can do. We must no longer at the international stage ask for a table or a chair to be put there for us. It must be no part of the process. It must be no part of the construct to have PISLM being written on a chair at the international table. And our table being reserved for us because the international community must recognize the importance of PISLM to save our soil so that in the next 30, 40 years, we won't have the devastating impacts of soil degradation as we know it. We must continue to show up as we have done. We did it Saudi Arabia, we did at COP, the last COP. We must continue to stand up as a regional group. And last but not least, we will certainly continue to speak up on behalf of our people. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, we now move to the plenary session. The plenary session, of course, is governed by Chapter 6 of the Rules and Procedures of PISLM and the PISLM Ministerial Council. As such, in pursuance of Articles 39, 40, and 41, I now call this plenary session to order. Excellencies, all I now invite at this time ministers to be afforded 3 minutes. And these, of course, are ministers responsible for the UNCCD. And we give you 3 minutes to present your ministers' ministerial positions, and of course your country position as is part of your mandate. So over to you, ministers. Thanks.
We start with Bahamas and we come around the table.
Good morning again, honorable ministers, distinguished delegates, and esteemed guests. It's both an honor and a privilege to address you today as we embark on another critical chapter of regional cooperation under the Partnership Initiative on Sustainable Land Management. First, permit me to extend my sincere appreciation to the outgoing chairman, Honorable Alfred Prosper of St. Lucia, for his steadfast leadership and his commitment to advancing sustainable land management across our region. Under his guidance, PISLM has fostered vital discussions and driven tangible action on preserving our natural resources for future generations. Minister Prosper, your contributions have been invaluable, and on behalf of my Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip Brave Davis, and the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, we wish to thank you for your dedicated service. And would also like to welcome the new chair, Honorable Adrian Ford, Minister of the Environment for Barbados. As a newly elected chairman, Minister Ford brings a wealth of experience and resolute commitment to environmental stewardship, qualities that will no doubt strengthen our collective efforts in addressing the pressing challenges of land degradation, climate resilience, and biodiversity preservation. Just as a note, Barbados and the Bahamas share a long-standing bond built on mutual respect, shared environmental priorities, and the vision for a sustainable Caribbean. As two island nations that deeply value our natural heritage, we understand the urgency of protecting our ecosystems while fostering responsible development. Minister Ford, I have absolutely no doubt that your leadership will reinforce these objectives and propel PISLM towards innovative solutions that will benefit all of our member states. As we move forward, the Bahamas stands ready to work alongside our regional partners to advance PISLM's transformative initiatives, from soil health care optimization to climate-smart land management and drought mitigation. Together, we will build resilient landscapes, secure livelihoods, and ensure that our nations thrive in harmony with nature. I look forward to the continued collaboration under Minister Ford's chairmanship and wish him every success in this important role. Once again, thank you all for your presence and commitment to safeguarding our shared future. Thank you.
Thank you, Bahamas, and we go straight now to Barbados. Thanks.
Good morning, Chair. Thank you. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. At yesterday's celebration and acceptance of the achievements of Mr. James, the Barbados delegation reflected on an idea which was born out of the Barbados Program of Action, an idea which was presented to a young postgraduate, a young university student, and an idea which traveled and journeyed over a period of 20 years to bring us to where we are now. Barbados is extremely delighted at today's event. We are equally happy about the progress that's been made so far, and we want to draw everyone's attention that this momentum and development and process has been achieved over a 20-year period with political and economical flexibility, but the overwhelming momentum has been for the sustainable development of the region. We recognize that this also represents the fruits of the University of the West Indies. It also represents a region which has the capacity to develop its own solutions. And we also recognize the journey and the battle Mr. James and others would have had as we seek to ensure international organizations that we are actually capable of putting a path forward. As Barbados assumes the role of chairman, we're equally delighted to be able to share our knowledge. We're equally delighted to learn from our Caribbean colleagues, and we want to emphasize the partnerships that would have happened before. We also think it is important for us to recognize the suite of environmental multilateral agreements, including climate change and biological diversity. And Barbados is willing to work with all to ensure that these conventions work in an integrated way to deliver and to promote the wishes and the desires and the aspirations of people in the region. Mr. Chairman, with those few words, we're delighted to be here and we are happy to participate in these proceedings. I thank you.
Thank you, Barbados. We now go to Belize.
Chair, honorable ministers, permanent secretaries, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is an honor to address you today on behalf of the Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Natural Resources, Petroleum and Mining, Honorable Curdell Hyde, who regrettably could not join us today, but conveys his warmest wishes for a productive and impactful forum. As small island developing states, our vulnerabilities are many, from rising sea levels and intensifying extreme weather events to the more insidious challenges of land degradation, desertification, and drought. These issues quietly erode the very foundations of our ecosystems, food security, and economic stability. Belize is richly endowed with biodiversity and natural resources. More than 60% of our land mass is forested, a testament to our legacy of conservation. Yet, our natural wealth is increasingly under threat from multiple challenges. Soil erosion in key agricultural zones, including the Belize River watershed and the Northern Plains. Loss of productive land driven by unsustainable land use, encroachment, and population pressures. Vulnerability of coastal mangrove systems, vital for shoreline protection, and fisheries now imperiled by sea level rise and pollution. In Belize, we have witnessed firsthand the devastating consequences of land degradation. Over 21% of our natural territory has been impacted, largely due to deforestation, unsustainable agricultural practices, and unregulated land use changes. This reality underscores the urgency for prioritizing sustainable land management and sustainable soil management as critical strategies for climate resilience and sustainable development in our region. By aligning with the global LDN framework, Belize envisions a future where economic growth, environmental sustainability, and social well-being advance hand in hand. Our ambition is simple yet profound: to ensure that every hectare of land under our care supports resilient ecosystems and thriving communities, even in the face of climate uncertainty. We understand that achieving LDN is not only a national goal, but a regional imperative. This is why Belize remains committed to working alongside our Caribbean neighbors, sharing experiences, mobilizing resources, and scaling up impactful interventions, several of which will be tabled here today. We must recognize the vital role of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management, which has been instrumental in supporting our LDN reporting and advancing regional initiatives such as Soil Care Phase 1 project. Through PISLM's visionary leadership under outgoing Executive Director Mr. Calvin James, and with platforms like this Ministerial Council, we continue to chart a bold and collective course for advancing SLM and SSM as pillars of resilience and prosperity. We extend sincere gratitude to St. Lucia, outgoing chair of the PISLM Ministerial Council, and to the Honorable Minister Alfred Prosper for his steadfast leadership. Much has been achieved through your vision and commitment. As Barbados now assumes the chairmanship, Belize offers its full solidarity and support, and we look forward to the momentum that new leadership cycle will bring. In closing, let us remember that sustainable land and soil management is not only about conserving nature, it is about safeguarding the future of our people, especially those most vulnerable to the climate crisis. Through unity, shared responsibility, and decisive action, we can reverse land degradation and build the resilient Caribbean we all envision. Let this PISLM Ministerial Council be a springboard for renewed commitment to healthy land and healthy lives. Thank you.
Dominica, you know have the floor. Thanks. Thanks, Belize.
Thank you. Good morning once again to all, to the chairperson, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Honorable Kozia Frederick, Minister of Environment, Rural Modernization, and Kalinago Upliftment of the Commonwealth of Dominica, it's a privilege to address this session today and to express our support to the PISLM. First, I extend heartfelt congratulations to you, Mr. Chair, Honorable Minister Ford of Barbados. Dominica welcomes your leadership and looks forward to working closely with you as we chart the course for more integrated and sustainable land management across the region. We also express deep appreciation to the outgoing chair, Minister Alfred Prosper of St. Lucia, for his exemplary service and commitment over the past term. His leadership has helped to strengthen the PISLM's foundation and visibility across the Caribbean. Chair, Dominica reaffirms its strong support for the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management. We believe in its mission, its relevance, and its potential to be a transformative force in how we manage our natural resources and protect our vulnerable ecosystems. As a small island developing state, Dominica continues to face increasing pressure on our land and rural communities due to climate change, erosion, and unsustainable land use practices. Through the PISLM, we see an opportunity for collective action, knowledge sharing, and the implementation of solutions that are rooted in local contexts, but aligned with global frameworks like the UNCCD. On behalf of Honorable Minister Frederick, I reiterate Dominica's commitment to working hand in hand with all member states, partners, and institutions to further the goal of the PISLM. We are especially keen on initiatives that support land restoration, rural resilience, and community empowerment. Together, let us continue to build a Caribbean where our lands are productive, our ecosystems are protected, and our people are empowered. Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity to share.
Thank you, Dominica, and we definitely miss your minister. He has a big presence, and you can confer that to him for me, please. Ghana, you now have the floor. Thank you.
Honorable Chairman, other honorable ministers present here today, prominent secretaries, national focal points, other delegates and attendees, ladies and gentlemen all, good morning. I would first of all like to thank the government of Grenada for hosting this meeting. I would also like to congratulate Honorable Minister Agent Ford as chair of the Ministerial Council. Ministerial presence at COP16 was most welcome. I would like to also thank Honorable Minister Alfred Prosper as the outgoing chair, for his dedicated work during the past year. It is a distinct honor for me to deliver this statement on behalf of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana and Honorable Minister Vikram Bharat, the Minister of Natural Resources of Guyana. I wish to commend the PISLM management and to thank the outgoing Executive Director for the leadership shown in addressing land degradation and promoting resilience in our region. Even though we in Guyana have a deforestation rate of less than 1%, land degradation remains a challenge, driven by factors such as unsustainable agriculture, mining, deforestation, and climate-related pressures like drought and flooding. Our Low Carbon Development Strategy, LCDS 2030, provides a visionary framework for building a low-emission economy while sustainably managing our vast natural resources, including forests, soils, and water system. Notably, the LCDS recognizes the importance of regional cooperation and technical assistance in achieving national goals. The implementation of LCDS can therefore be enhanced through strategic partnerships with regional mechanisms and organizations like PISLM. Through collaboration, we can advance on climate change, land, and livelihood goals more efficiently and sustainably, while contributing to broader CARICOM resilience efforts. Guyana has been a proud participant in the Soil Care Initiative, which has proven beneficial in targeting some of our efforts to integrate sustainable land management into national development. Like our Caribbean neighbors, we are vulnerable to climate-driven challenges such as drought, soil degradation, declining agricultural productivity, and health risk linked to high agrochemical use. With around 95% of food production tied to soil, by targeting improved soil health, soil care aligns well to contribute to CARICOM's Vision 25 by 2025 initiative, now extended to 2030. Under Soil Care Phase 1, we were able to assess identified land degradation hotspots in the targeted regions and help raise awareness at both the policy and community levels. We anticipate that the outcomes will, in some measure, help to lay the groundwork for sustainable practices in the land sector. As we progress into Soil Care Phase 2, we are committed to scaling up best practices identified in Phase 1 to consolidate our gains by expanding technical support to local communities, improving data-driven decision-making, and strengthening institutional coordination. Guyana supports regional collaboration under this phase and encourages the effective integration of gender-sensitive approaches and youth engagement. We look forward to the implementation of impactful measures on the ground that will contribute towards achieving land degradation neutrality. While Guyana may not be as severely impacted by transboundary sand and dust events to the extent of some of our regional neighbors, we recognize the broader environmental and health implications of these phenomena. Increased particulate matter from distant Sahara dust events has been increasingly recorded in our atmosphere, influencing air quality and potentially affecting human health, agriculture, and water systems. We therefore welcome evidence-based solutions to the sand and dust storm phenomena impacting the region and urge for stronger regional monitoring mechanisms, early warning systems, and capacity building to better understand the implications of SDS on Caribbean ecosystems and human well-being. The Caribbean Drought Initiative is especially timely and relevant to Guyana. Although our country has traditionally enjoyed abundant freshwater resources, we are now witnessing shifts in rainfall patterns, prolonged dry seasons, and have also seen an increased frequency of drought-like conditions in several regions, as well as an increase in forest fires during these periods. Through the UNCCD's Drought Initiative, Guyana developed its National Drought Mitigation and Adaptation Plan in 2020, seeking a shift in our drought management from being reactive and crisis-based to a more proactive approach. The Caribbean Drought Initiative would therefore provide a good platform for strengthening our national drought efforts. In closing, Guyana reaffirms its commitments to the principles of sustainable land management, environmental stewardship, and regional cooperation. We urge all member states and partners to maintain momentum and deepen their support for initiatives like Soil Care and SDS initiatives and the Caribbean Drought Initiative. Together, we can build a resilient, food-secure, and environmentally sound Caribbean future. I thank you.
Thank you, Guyana. We now go to host country, Grenada.
So, thank you, Chair. I would want to introduce our Minister of Climate Resilience and the Environment of Grenada, and I would ask her to speak on behalf of all of us. Minister.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. Chair, colleague ministers, distinguished delegates, I welcome you all to Grenada at a moment that is not just symbolically important, but strategically urgent. We commend the outgoing chair for exemplary works, and we welcome and congratulate our incoming chair, Minister Ford, and we look forward to your leadership. The convening of this ministerial council, ladies and gentlemen, here on our shores is taking place amid a hurricane season that has already reminded us
with painful clarity that climate vulnerability in small island developing states is not a distant threat, but it is a present condition. The recent impact of Hurricane Beryl last year, catastrophic in its speed, intensity, and aftermath, has brought into sharp focus the fragility of our landscapes, the precariousness of our food systems, and the acute risk to human security across our archipelagos. But it has also reinforced a deeper truth that land is not merely a resource, it is our first line of defense. This is where the relevance of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management becomes not only technical but existential. PISLM, ladies and gentlemen, represents a unique Caribbean response architecture. It is a mechanism designed by us, for us, anchored in the ecological and developmental realities of SIDS. It recognizes that land degradation, drought, soil erosion, and climate-induced shocks are not siloed challenges, but interlinked stressors that demand integrated responses. Through initiatives such as the CSIDS Soil Care, the Caribbean Drought Initiative, and the forthcoming LDN Transformative Project, PISLM provides a coherent platform to translate regional aspirations into action that is science-based, locally owned, and fundable at scale. Colleagues, in this era of cascading risks, from protracted droughts to intensifying storms, our responsibility must extend beyond episodic disaster response. We must embed resilience in the way we manage our ecosystems, in the way we design our infrastructure, and how we govern our societies. This demands institutions that are not only credible and coordinated, but also capacitated and politically supported. PISLM must be strengthened to serve as the regional anchor for land and soil governance. Its role is pivotal in shaping our positions at COP16, in unlocking access to mechanisms like the GEF, the GCF, and Adaptation Fund, and in ensuring that Caribbean voices are heard not only as victims, but as vanguards of innovative resilience solutions. And so at this juncture, I pay homage and I say thanks to the hardworking, passionate, and committed outgoing Executive Director, Calvin, for your leadership, and we anticipate a very smooth transition with our incoming Director. Chair, let us not be passive in the face of the planetary crisis. Let us continue to commit through this council to resource. Let us continue to commit to empower and mainstream the PISLM into our national and regional frameworks. Because in doing so, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed colleagues, we are not merely protecting soil. We are safeguarding our sovereignty. We are safeguarding food security and the very right for our people to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you, Grenada. St. Lucia, you have the floor.
You're muted, St. Lucia.
You're muted.
Sorry.
We know you. We heard your voice for 2 years, so we can't afford to have you muted now.
Are you hearing me? Are you all hearing me?
We're hearing you, but not seeing you.
Are you seeing me now? What is going on? Are you seeing me now?
We're seeing and hearing you now.
Yes. Let me say a pleasant good morning to everyone again. And let me recognize the presence of excellencies, focal points, and other invited guests. I am very, very sorry, as I mentioned earlier, that I can't be there physically, but I'm enjoying participating online. I want to say that the PISLM has been an organization that has been overseen the issues of land and soil challenges in the region since 2004. And I must say, since I joined the PISLM, I have been very, very happy with the level of progress we've made. And that progress is important because it was championed not just by the focal points at the time, but a man who has led this organization with his heart and soul. And Calvin knows where we started when we had issues with finance and issues with, participation at the UNCCD meetings. But I must say that in recent years, especially last year, we were very successful in the UNCCD meeting in Saudi Arabia because we were able to present to the global community the largest number of ministers from the Caribbean to ever participate in the UNCCD meeting. We also went further to establish what we call a global seeds forum, which I think augurs well for the future of Caribbean seeds and the PISLM. But I want to say that I'm very happy that I am seeing a level of interest from other ministers responsible for the UNCCD. And I'm very happy with that because this is the only way we can continue to put forward our issues on the agenda and to be able to get assistance, financial resources and technical resources, whatever, to help us address these issues. Climate change is having a very serious negative impact on small island states like ours, especially now considering the importance of food security and the negative impact climate change can have on our food production. And if our soils are not addressed, if our forest soils issues and challenges are not addressed, food security will become even a greater problem for small island states like ours. So I'm very happy that the PISLM is championing the cause of the Caribbean, small island states. And I just want to thank all those persons who have been participating to make or to strengthen this organization to allow it to be able to deliver on what is expected of us when we represent our countries at the international level. I am very, very, very happy. It was a pleasure working with Calvin. Calvin was a true champion. Calvin has been a formidable leader, one who has dedicated his service, commitment, and everything to the UNCCD. I remember when we started the Land Degradation and Neutrality Project, and Calvin was one of those who led this together with our Soils Care Phase 1 and Phase 2. Now in the Caribbean, we are now in a position to receive updated soils maps for our countries. I know St. Lucia's soils map was created in 1966, 1 year after I was born. And we are now in a position to say that we are receiving new data and information on our soils in the region because with all these natural events, natural disasters, hurricanes, floods, major changes could have been taking place in our soils. And it is important that we update our soils to allow us to become land degradation neutral by 2030. It's a big achievement, and I do hope that all small island states like ours will work together to achieving this target. I want to wish Calvin all the best in his future endeavor. I do hope that the one who will be replacing him would continue to provide that level of commitment and dedication to working together with us to achieve our set objectives and targets. I just want to say St. Lucia stands ready and committed to working with the PISLM. I know my current focal point will be leaving us soon for retirement purposes. I do want to say as Minister for Agriculture in St. Lucia, we will continue to work together with the PISLM because we understand the importance of doing that and the benefits to be derived as small island states like ours. I want to wish you all the best for the rest of your meeting. I will be participating online, but I do hope we will have a very successful fourth ministerial council meeting. Thank you.
That said, we now go to St. Kitts and Nevis. St. Kitts and Nevis, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I acknowledge the protocol that has been established. On behalf of Honorable Minister Dr. Joel Clark, who is our Minister of Sustainable Development, Climate Action, Environment, and Constituency Empowerment, I thank the Government of Grenada for co-hosting the fourth session of the first Ministerial Council of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management. Excellencies, the Government of St. Kitts and Nevis, via this high-level forum, also wishes to extend its gratitude to the PISLM for its unwavering service to the region and pledges our continued commitment to this Ministerial Council as we strive to meet our obligations with regards to advancing the agenda of sustainable land and soil management across the region. We fully agree that this is a moment of ambivalence as we bid farewell to Mr. Calvin James, who has held the position of Executive Director for over 20 years and has provided visionary leadership and service to PISLM. Mr. James has made an unmatched contribution to advancing the regional agenda of this intergovernmental organization, which is now bearing the fruits of his labor. The Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis expresses its appreciation to you, Mr. James, for your dedication and leadership. We would also like to extend our appreciation to the government of St. Lucia and the Honorable Alfred Prosper, who, having accepted the esteemed role of chairperson for the PISLM Ministerial Council, have championed the progressive work of the Council along with the support of his team as we strive to move forward in this common and worthy cause. At the same time, we extend a welcoming and supportive hand to the incoming chairman, Minister Adrian Ford of Barbados, and hereby pledge our support to you, sir, and your team as we forge our way forward to combating this clear and present danger of climate change. Consequently, St. Kitts and Nevis recognizes and welcomes the advances made thus far, namely, the progress achieved in CSIDS, Soil Care Phase 1, the GEF Project Implementation Forum for CSIDS, Soil Care Phase 2, the Caribbean LDN Transformative Project, and the institutional capacities of PISLM to carry out its mandates. As such, on behalf of Honorable Dr. Joel Clark, St. Kitts and Nevis wishes to express its full commitment to the ideals of the PISLM Ministerial Council and fully supports the plans and programs that have been submitted for endorsement. We look forward to working with our fellow regional ministries responsible for UNCCD through frank and meaningful discussions as we venture forward even more aggressively to develop the regional framework geared towards combating the causes of land degradation while building resilience against their devastating impacts. Ministers, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for your attention and we look forward to fruitful outcomes from today's sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you, St. Kitts. We now go to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, Chair, Honourable Ministers, focal points and distinguished guests. It is indeed a pleasure to be here at the fourth session of the Ministerial Council of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management. On behalf of the Honorable Sabutu Caesar, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry, Fisheries, Rural Transformation, Industry and Labour of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, who wanted to be here today, is currently attending the OECS Parliament sessions in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The government extends its gratitude to the government of Grenada and the Partnership Initiative of Sustainable Land Management for its warm hospitality. I wish to thank the outgoing chairman, Minister Alfred Prosper, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, Food Security and Rural Development, St. Lucia, for his steadfast leadership, for his dedicated service to the drive for sustainable land management. He has fostered collaboration on the way forward, which would advance the PISLM initiative to address food security and sustainable livelihoods. The government commends Mr. Carvin James as director of the initiative for his excellent work. The government thanks you for your service and wishes you all the best in your future endeavors. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines would like to welcome Minister Ford of Barbados as the new chairman of the Ministerial Council of the Partnership Initiative for Sustainable Land Management and to express its continued support and collaboration. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, issues concerning and touching land degradation resides at the forefront of our nation's conversation, particularly following the aftermath of the volcanic eruptions of La Soufrière in 2021, which altered our soils and slopes, destroyed significant forest cover, and impacted the environment's biodiversity. The impact on our forest cover was further exacerbated by Hurricane Beryl less than a year ago. The importance of soil care is critical to food security, and focus must continue to optimize sustainable land management, biodiversity, agriculture, and forestry management. Soil health must be at the forefront of our discussions. St. Vincent and the Grenadines would like to commend the PISL for its excellent work in championing major causes of climate change resilience. The work of the PISL is critical in addressing our vulnerability in the context of climate change and natural disasters. The impact of the drought and Hurricane Beryl in 2024 reinforced the importance of building resilience within our vulnerable states. The government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to give its full support to the Partnership Initiative, a sustainable land management platform, and to the work it continues to do, and will continue to advocate for increasing expenditure and collaboration regionally and internationally as it pertains to its excellent work in land degradation in the Caribbean states. Let our discussions be fruitful at this fourth ministerial session. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellencies. I now yield the floor to our partners of PISLM, who will also give 3-minute speeches. FAO, you have the floor. Thanks.
So it will be Ms. Bob Prescott. She is connected online, delivering the statement.
All protocols observed. Good morning, colleagues. I bring greetings on behalf of all protocols observed. Good morning, colleagues. I bring greetings on behalf of the Sub-Regional Coordinator for the Caribbean, Dr. Renata Clark. Let me thank, on behalf of the FAO, the Government of Grenada for hosting this meeting. I want to extend sincere gratitude to the outgoing Chair, Minister Prosper, for his dedicated service and guidance. on behalf of the FAO, extend a warm welcome to the incoming chair, Minister Ford, from the host country of the Sub-Regional Office of the Food and Agricultural Organization. We look forward to working with you and supporting you to drive the land degradation agenda in the region. We at FAO take this opportunity to extend greetings to all countries and to pledge our support towards the execution of the land degradation agenda for the region. Many of you have spoken about the contributions that we have made over the years, from the drafting of Soil Care 1 to the drafting of the decision paper of the paper on drought that advised the position at the conference, to assisting with the drafting of Soil Care 2. And we commit to the continued support of the FAO, not only at the sub-regional office, but the technical expertise that's available through our global network. So I thank you and I wish you the best in this meeting.
Thank you, FAO. We now go to the Global Water Partnership. Thanks.
Chair, ministers, distinguished colleagues, the Global Water Partnership Caribbean is pleased to join this important convening of the PISLM Ministerial Council. And on behalf of the steering committee and the chair, Professor Paulette Baino, and the secretariat at GWPC, we congratulate you, Honorable Minister Ford, on the chair appointment. At GWPC, our commitment is to support Caribbean countries in achieving a water secure and climate resilient future. We see our role as enablers, helping countries identify governance gaps, mobilize partnerships, and build institutional capacity needed to turn climate, and water policy into action. And as we look ahead, we're especially focused on aligning water governance with the region's land degradation and climate resilience goals, particularly in support of SDGs 6.5 on IWRM, so Integrated Water Resource Management, and on 15.3, national drought responses, ensuring we're also aligning and supporting PISLM and their championing and advocacy for the Caribbean region. I just want to take the opportunity to share that in partnership with UNEP and NGOs locally, we're supporting an upcoming, hosting an upcoming regional workshop in July designed to do just that, to help countries move from technical discussions to the co-creation of fundable, country-led action plans that strengthen integrated water and land management. So this type of convening is critical because it creates structured opportunities for countries to shape practical, very important investment-ready solutions that match the urgency of the climate and water challenges we all face. So we stand ready to support PISLM and member states in building those solutions. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much. We now go to Aika. I should think they're online.
Yes, sir. Right, are you hearing me clearly?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, distinguished show personnel. I wish to bring greetings on behalf of ICA, the Inter-American Institute for Cooperation on Agriculture. We really want to start by acknowledging the work and the power of PISLM in terms of what they would have done so far. Very, very noble task and very aligned to the mandates for ICA as well. So we wish to recognize also the work of Calvin James and also the outgoing chair. And we wish to pledge our commitment to continue partnering with PISLM to achieve the noble task, again, mandated through the member states, however we can. And so therefore, we bring greetings again, and we look forward to partnering and actioning all of the items that are sanctioned or that are permitted by the organization. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And lastly, we'll go to Haiti, who's online again. Haiti, you have the floor.
Hello?
Right. We hear you. Please proceed.
Okay. My name is Astel Joseph. Je représente le ministre de l'Environnement d'Haïti. Je suis heureux d'être avec vous pour vous délivrer le discours ou bien les propos du ministre de l'Environnement à ce grand événement de la réunion des ministres de l'Environnement du PISLM. Je tiens aussi à féliciter le gouvernement de la Grenade pour avoir hébergé ce grand événement. Au nom du ministre de l'Environnement, je démarre comme ça, ainsi. Aujourd'hui, je vais aborder un sujet vraiment crucial pour l'avenir de notre pays, la gestion durable des terres en Haïti. La dégradation des terres est un problème majeur qui menace notre sécurité alimentaire, notre environnement et notre développement économique. En effet, en Haïti, environ 52% de nos terres agricoles sont affectées par la dégradation. Le problème rencontré, notre pays est confronté à des problèmes de défis en matière de gestion des terres, notamment l'érosion, la perte de la biodiversité, le changement climatique, la pauvreté, et cela est causé par la déforestation et des pratiques agricoles inappropriées. Les sols s'érodent, réduisant ainsi leur fertilité et augmentent les risques d'inondation lors des pluies. La destruction des écosystèmes naturels affecte aussi la biodiversité, compromettant les services écosystémiques essentiels. Les phénomènes météorologiques extrêmes deviennent de plus en plus fréquents, aggravant les impacts sur l'agriculture et les communautés rurales. Plus de 60% de la population vit en dessous du seuil de pauvreté, rendant difficile l'investissement dans des pratiques agricoles durables. Malgré ces défis, il existe des solutions que nous pouvons mettre en œuvre pour encourager une gestion durable de nos terres, comme l'adoption de l'agroécologie, la sensibilisation de la population, l'implémentation aussi de politiques régionales, la prévention contre la désertification. Je salue le travail remarquable réalisé par l'initiative de partenariat pour la gestion durable des terres et le félicite pour son engagement indéfectible et pour le soutien technique qu'il a apporté à nos efforts en matière de gestion de l'environnement et gestion de nos terres. Ce programme a joué un rôle crucial dans l'amélioration des pratiques de gestion des sols, contribuant ainsi à la durabilité agronomique et à la résilience des communautés face aux défis environnementaux. L'expertise technique et le dévouement du PISLM sont des atouts précieux dans nos quêtes pour restaurer et protéger nos terres essentielles à la vie et à la prospérité de notre population. Les initiatives de PISLM ont permis de former nos agronomes et cadres des ministères de l'Environnement et de l'Agriculture, d'implémenter des solutions innovantes en gestion des sols et de sensibiliser les communautés aux meilleures pratiques pour la conservation des sols et la lutte contre l'érosion. Grâce au soutien du PISLM, nous avons réussi à identifier des systèmes qui non seulement favorisent une agriculture durable dans notre département du Nord-Est d'Haïti, mais qui renforcent également la sécurité alimentaire et l'économie totale. Les résultats tangibles du travail du PISLM sont une source d'inspiration pour nous tous. Donc, nous renforçons la coopération technique et l'appui du PISLM en matière de gestion des terres et les décisions qui auront été assorties dans le cadre de cette réunion ministérielle, nous sommes vraiment en accord avec les décisions et nous sommes là pour assister et continuer à échanger avec vous, Monsieur les ministres, Monsieur les directeurs et Monsieur les représentants des agences des Nations Unies ici présents à cette grande rencontre. Sur ce, je vous remercie et on est là à vous écouter. Merci.
Thank you. Thank you all, Excellencies. That has come to the, that's the last speech for this particular session. I just want to say, coming out of the discussion thus far, is that one thing that is evidently clear is that we in the Caribbean, we contribute very little to the climate change crisis. And we are exposed, whether it is droughts, whether it is water scarcity issues across the board. There are concerns about land degradation, there are concerns about erosion. Sometimes you have fires, dust storms. Whatever the disasters are, there's one thing that is evident. We are not being given the financial resources in an equitable way, firstly, and then in a way that seeks to deal with the matters with a sense of urgency. So there's lack of finance and there's lack of urgent finance for us to recover from those natural disasters. So, but one thing that we have the rest of the assurance about, the leadership of PISLM, is that we have started by working in a collaborative way amongst member states. So, for instance, our lab sharing mechanism, something that you started, Calvin, where we are able to share our lab capacity around the region for lab testing through the university, of course. And then our knowledge hub that we created, those are the things that we have to do together because we have to start helping each other. I think that's the only way we can start to recover. And that is a good show from us as we continue to agitate on the global scheme for better financial resources and equitable financial resources to respond to the vagaries of climate change. So we will continue to agitate from our Bridgetown initiative, from different things that disrupt that which is normal and that which is unfair to us. But at the same time, we will do what we have to do as a region because we will not sit and play dead. And that is the rest of the assurance. And I want to carry on that fight for my good friend Alfred Prosper. And to say not only are we limited in terms of our financial wherewithal and the response, but we also know that when there is the opportunity to have the abatement technologies, we are the last in the line. When there are the opportunities to have the alternatives, when we are transitioning, we are last in the line. So it is for us now to be able to have that voice, that global voice to say we must be part of the process, the buy-in process, because we contribute very little, and yet still we are having the most and the adverse impacts of it. So, and that is what Alfred and Prosper, my minister colleague, started in terms of the work on the global stage, the international stage. And I just want to give that firm, unreserved commitment to be able to do the same thing, because we need this type of fight in order for us to have that recognition and for us to be able to have the sustainable livelihoods of our people, because that is our focal interest at the end of the day. I want to thank you as we take just a 15-minute break, have some coffee, and enjoy the nice aroma of Grenada. Thank you.
Before we disperse, with your leave, Chair, let me just give some instructions. Our next session will be a closed session in pursuance of Article 42 of the Rules of Procedure, sorry. Therefore, there would be a new link, a closed link. Those of you who are online, you would be re-invited back to participate in the resumption of the opening session around 12:30 or so. And that session will go for half an hour before we break for lunch, and then we come back. So just to unravel what I just said, the next session will be a closed session, a ministerial closed session in pursuance of Article 32. So all non-ministerial delegates will be invited to join me outside. I will not be in that session. So we can have our meetings outside, I guess. And those of you who are online, we will not be using this link for the next session. This link will resume around 12:30 at the end of the closed session. Back to you, Chair.
Thank you, Executive Director. Thank you, Executive Director. The meeting is now suspended for 15 minutes.
Chair, what time do we resume, though? An estimated time?
12:30.
No, not the ministerial. Just after the closed session.
The break is 15 minutes. So we those of you participating in the closed session would resume at 11:45.